Hello and welcome to this brief tutorial on using persistent sessions on CHPC Linux resources. This video will cover Screen, tmux, and FastX2. Persistent sessions allow you to disconnect from a resource without losing your progress or your programs and pick up where you left off on a different computer or at a later date, or both. They are useful when you're working from home or from a different computer, or running long programs when the connection may be interrupted. It's important to note that resource usage policies still apply when you're using persistent sessions, so if you'll be running something for a long time or using multiple cores or something of that nature, you will need to use a compute node. And also consider using the Frisco nodes for interactive graphical work where the usage policies are a bit more lax. See Policy 2.1, General HPC Cluster Policies, for more information. tmux and Screen are what are called terminal multiplexers, which are essentially window managers for text. They will enter the background when a hang-up call is received, which means that your programs will keep running instead of ending if you were in a typical SSH session and you lost connection. And in that way, you can open another session, and as long as the host stayed online, you can reopen your programs and just pick up right where you left off. FastX2 is a commercial software by StarNet Communications which acts as a middleman between your computer and the host computer. In this way, if you lose a connection, your session will still likely exist and you can pick up elsewhere, and you can also connect graphically through a web browser or the FastX client on another computer. This will also provide you access to graphical resources unlike the past two options. There is a video on FastX2 which may be helpful. I'm going to start by SSHing to Notchpeak to demonstrate the tmux program. When I'm signed in, I'm going to run the tmux command to start the tmux program. And when I do this, you will notice this green bar at the bottom here. This is the status bar and also where my commands will appear. So I'm going to press Ctrl B and question mark, which is how I bring up the help menu here. And I can see some of the terminal multiplexer features that this has. So I'm going to split this window vertically and then horizontally. And I'm going to show how this works with persistent sessions. So I'm going to press Ctrl B, detach. And now it says detached. Now I can view the running sessions by running tmux ls, and I have this session called 0. So I'm going to actually log out and log back into Notchpeak just to demonstrate that my session is still active. So if I list my tmux sessions again, I see 0 here. I can reconnect with tmux a-t and then the session number. And here I am, right back where I left off. I can close this by running exit as I would in a normal terminal, and now it says exited instead of detached. If I run tmux ls again, I have no sessions open. It says failed to connect to server. I can create a new one and provide a name with tmux new-s and then the name. And this creates a new session with a name associated with it. So if I detach from this and run tmux ls, instead of having the number 0 at the left here, I have example name, which is the name I chose. And I can reattach with tmux a, which will attach to the previous tmux session. Of course, I can also specify the name of the session to connect to at this time. Screen is a program that's very similar to tmux. So I'm already on Notchpeak and I just ran the screen command. And now I'm going to just run a command to show you that it stays here if I detach. So to detach from a screen session, you press Ctrl A and then D. And it says detached from and then the name of the session that I was running. And to view the sessions, you can run screen-ls. To reattach to one, you'll want to run screen-r, but first I'm going to disconnect and reconnect again to demonstrate the persistent session nature of this. So if I do screen-ls, you'll see there's actually nothing here, and that's because I'm on the wrong notch peak. I did the round robin option and I got put on notch peak 1 this time when my session was running on notch peak 2. So that's a good point. If you're using an interactive node, make sure you use a specific node and not just the general name. So you can reattach with screen-r, and now this time I ran exit and it says screen is terminating instead of detached. I'm going to be using FastX in a web browser, so I'm going to connect to kingspeak.chbc.utah.edu:3000. I'm going to log in with my university ID and password. Now I'm going to launch a session here, and I'm going to choose Xterm, just the simplest one. And now when I launch this, I can click go to my session, and I should get an Xterm window here. Here it is. I'll run a command to demonstrate the persistent nature. There it is. Now if I just close this, I can reconnect to the website, refresh it, anything. And when I come back, my window should still be there. So I can actually see a live preview too, so I can have multiple of these open. And I can click the play button to reconnect. And there it is. The command I ran is still there. You can log out to close this session. I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email us at helpdesk@chbc.utah.edu or stop by our offices in INSCC 405. Thanks for watching.